Welcome to another episode of Industrial Amputation, where you can always expect the unexpected. We have two remarkable individuals sitting with us today. They are here to talk about their project Light of Eternity, which are currently taking orders for white vinyl on their for their latest release, Aftershock, on the Cadiz merch. Is it Cadiz merch
It
store?
is.
cadizmerchstore.com. Please help us give an extremely warm welcome to Big Paul Ferguson and Fred Schreck. Gentlemen, thank you for kicking it with us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And
Nice to
and
meet
again,
you.
thank
Good
you
morning.
for the accommodation for the schedule adjustment. My
Listen, this is midday for me. I get up at 5 in the morning, so this is I busted Paul's chops before, but yeah, this is not.
Nice,
I'm gonna
nice.
have lunch in about another hour.
Right on. Yeah,
Yeah,
my
I
goddaughter sends her a thank you for this because I'm taking her to see the Thunderbolts today. So
well, good. I hope you both enjoy it.
yeah.
Excellent.
All right, let's jump right in, shall we? So what brought you two and Paulie Williams together to form Light of Eternity?
I'll take this one. Um, Fred and I have known each other for quite a long while. We met first at a club in New York called The Mission, and he kindly stepped into a project that I had going back then called Crush. When the original singer left, Fred stepped in and did an amazing job filling the former singer's shoes. And then I helped him out with a few tracks for his group, The Ancients. Um, and we always talked about doing something together again. So when I was introduced to Paulie Williams, and he and I hit it off quite well, remarkably well, actually, musically at a time that was really fortuitous for me. Um, we needed a singer, obviously, and Fred was pretty much the first person that came to mind.
Hmm.
Uh, and
High praise, man.
I didn't know if he would be interested in picking this up at this late stage in our lives, but happily he did, and it couldn't be better. It's closed the circle of he and I working together again, and gone beyond, I think, what we both were expecting. So we're very pleased to be working on this now.
Awesome.
Hmm.
That's kind of the cool thing about longevity, and it just everything circles back around. And yeah, so the project is amazing. It's very well
Thank you.
done.
Thank you.
Concur. What's the origin behind the band's name?
Um,
You're gonna have to take that one too, Paul.
yeah, I
Paul, should
don't
I
know.
leave?
I don't know how pleased I am with the name. It was a working title at the time. And I was in this sort of limbo that Killing Joke was in. And this phrase that actually came from my wife's law school lecturer popped into mind, which was like, in the light of eternity, none of this matters.
Oh,
And, I just threw that out as, okay, that's a working title. We'll think of a better name at some point.
Mhm.
But once it was sort of opened up to the panel, Paulie and Fred, they were into it and it stuck.
Hmm.
it's awesome. I love it, especially that it breaks down into the word low. Um,
Yeah,
it feels prophetic in a way. Um,
Hmm.
and yeah.
I'd
So
uh,
can you?
I'd like to know Fred's sort of perspective on it.
Yeah.
Well, at first I wasn't certain about it, but I think it definitely, as time progressed, it sort of had the meaning of having this counterbalance to the to the power of the music, and I think it works great, especially with the addition of the artwork from from the fella that did
Conrad, yeah,
the EP. I think it all works really well. Uh,
Hmm.
I've you know I identify with it now, so it's not as sort of I wasn't I'm questioning it as much as I did at first, but I'm full on now. I think it's great. It definitely highlights who we are, I think.
Awesome. It feels hopeful.
That's what I mean, though. It's kind of a
Yeah.
counterbalance because
I
everything.
know. I mean, that's what I mean. There's layers in there. It's just
yeah.
low light of eternity. There's hope. There's despair a little bit, and then the sound of the music just it's incredible. Yeah, I mean,
I
Thank you,
appreciate that.
yeah.
thank you.
Can you take us through the process of how you guys typically write your tracks?
Um, Basically, they got a head start on me, so I'm the new guy. So they had a lot of material. And to be honest with you, I always wanted to work with Paul again, and I even tried to get him involved in a project I was in a couple of years ago with John Ashton from the Furs. We had a project called
Yeah.
Satellite Paradiso,
Okay.
and Paul stepped in and did a couple tracks with that. I wanted him to do more, but that didn't end very well. That kind of like didn't really go where I'd hoped, and I really was about to hang it up at this point. And even when Paul
Hmm.
called me, I was kind of like, well, I really would love to work with Paul again, but I'm a little long in the tooth now. So but then I heard the music and I was like, wow, this is just so powerful, so
Yeah.
powerful. And without me even singing a note, they could have probably released this as instrumental stuff.
Yeah.
It's that good. Um, but normally I get these tracks and I just sit with them for a while. I lay a bass line down, which is another thing I'm excited about. I get to participate in the musical instrumental part of it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I just wait till a melody pops in my head. I've always had this knack for coming up with melodies. And then I just pay attention to the ether and the environment that's around me. I'm writing sort of topical feeling lyrics lately. That's not usually my MO. I usually write songs that are more about human frailty and the condition of the human, uh, you know, the human experience. Uh, but that's where we're at. This is what I'm
Yeah.
affected by. You
Yeah.
know, you know, it's a scary world out there, and I'm just reacting to it.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
it won't be like that forever. The
well,
lyrics
no.
I wrote for the latest thing that we're working on now gets
Yeah.
more into what I'm used
I
to
know
doing.
as a painter, back in high school when I was very much more a visual artist, we had a project where the teacher told us that we needed to um, get a space to work in where there was no distraction. There was no inspiration in the space, just a white space. And I found it very difficult working in something like that. But there's something about that, not having anything to inspire what you're doing other than what you're working on. Um, but in today's world, it's a little bit harder because there's noise
Yeah, I
everywhere.
can't find a space like that
Yeah,
because
I would right.
basically I have a family and they're constantly stuff going on. So that's why I kind of sequester myself in this spare bedroom, just shut the door. So yeah, I mean, I just get to it when I can, but it's something that I look forward to doing. I'm excited about it. I haven't felt that way in a long time. I'm always energized when it's time to,
That's
you know, to,
awesome.
to
Yeah.
put my nose to the grindstone.
Hmm.
Was there a certain sound you were seeking out to achieve when writing the two EPs, Edge of Fate and Aftershock?
Uh, no, I think it's just something that's very natural to us.
Mhm.
You know, I met and heard Paulie Williams first, as I've mentioned already, at a time when Killing Joke were sort of in limbo. And it was very, very easy for me to share my ideas with him and for him to respond to them almost immediately, which in Killing Joke's long history has never happened. That's, you've got to be in a room and fight for a very long time before an idea sees light. So
Got a little bit of tension going on in the back of my head right now.
so it was a great pleasure for me personally to hear a sound that was akin to Killing Joke without being that, where I could, have somebody appreciate my ideas and have a reciprocity without the tension and feel like we were very quickly scratching that itch. So no, it was an organic um, situation between Paulie and myself. And as Fred has just mentioned it, we very quickly amassed quite a lot of material, and Fred is still, bless him, catching up on that,
Yeah.
and blowing us away, I have to say. I mean, Fred has been sitting on one song for a little while now, um, that he sent us the rough sketch of last night, and we're both just like, yeah, okay, great, another one under the belt, really. So we're rapidly working towards another collection of 4 songs, but we will put them, I think, towards an album that will come out soon after this ministry jaunt that we're so lucky to have been asked to play on.
Yeah. It's incredible, man. It's absolutely incredible. I'm very much looking forward to more of this. It's
Really lucky because he had just
yeah.
announced that leaving the he's leaving the whole ministry thing behind. He's
Yeah.
retiring from ministry, even though I don't know how he's going to do that because he kind of is ministry,
He
but
is
in a
ministry,
lot of
man.
people's minds. But yeah, I'm glad we were able to hop on this one because we wouldn't have got another opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. I was really looking forward to seeing this tour with with Sympathy and Twitch. I'm going to be working on the Mechanismus festival in Seattle while it's in town. So I'm like, oh, but
Uh,
you got to pick your battles. It's gonna be a lot of fun at Mechanismus though. But I'm hoping he's gonna do one more after him and Paul release whatever they do.
Come on out to Germany.
Oh yeah. I'll just
Coming up to
jump on
Germany.
across the pond. Yeah, yeah, we won't go there.
Yeah, there's always London.
Yeah.
What do you hope listeners take away from hearing your music?
Um,
Um,
okay, go ahead, Paul.
um, I hope they get a sense of I hope they get a charge of energy to get out there and make things happen. Um, I was listening to Nevermind the Bollocks on the bus up here last night,
Nice.
and it's so musically proficient and yet so sort of raw and basic, and it changed everything.
Yeah.
It changed music certainly, but it changed society as well because it was
Mhm.
such a release for a generation. And I think Nirvana did the same sort of thing.
Absolutely.
And I'm not expecting that we would, do that. I'm not trying to equate us with either of those bands, or suggest that we could, have that kind of influence. But it's sort of what you look for in music, something that's energizing, that gives people a feeling of hope, whilst perhaps opening their eyes to, giving them lyrically a perspective that they hadn't thought of before. or
Mhm.
something that they can directly relate to. And I think Fred's lyrics are incredibly relatable and potent. And I think the music is also the same.
Mm. Okay.
When you're
I
writing
think
lyrics,
we've already sort of made a visceral connection with a small group of people, and that as an artist is what you're always looking for. You're looking for that real connection with people. It- you just you hope for that, and if you get that, even on a small scale, it's so meaningful to the artist and to the people listening. So um, I hope I hope we could do that with a bigger audience. I'd be thrilled with that. But it's
Mm.
just us sort of reacting to the world around us, as I said, and I appreciate Paul's comments about my lyrics. I come from a very sort of working class background, so I tend to look at things and through that lens, and
Mm.
you know, it's always been a slog for people like me. So yeah.
so when you're writing and recording the vocals for stuff, just as I am also a writer and just wondering, when you are putting the lyrics down on a piece, is
Mhm.
this something where you're making a conscious effort to fill in the space, or is it very much stream of consciousness when you're doing something? Do you have an idea in mind when you hear the music, or does the music put the idea in your mind of where you're wanting to go?
That's a great question, and it's a little bit of both. But I would say normally the way I work is I have a sense of melody that's almost infectious. It's almost like a disease in my head. When I hear a piece of music, that melody will start come before anything else,
Yeah,
and I hum, just the melody, and I'll just sing gobbledygook, just because I feel like when you put the words in there, eventually they have to have an impact.
yes,
And the best way to do that is to think about how it sounds musically first, and then with the lyrics, it is a stream of consciousness thing on some level. I kind of know where I'm going with it, but I kind of, I kind of pick things out of the ether that fill the gaps, as you
yeah,
say.
yeah,
But, I'm very critical about what the final draft looks like. It has to have some sort of meaning, and, it has to be honest. It has to be
yeah,
really honest. If it's not honest, it won't come through. Just
yeah,
like if it's not melodic or or just matches up to the ferocity of the music,
yeah,
you know, it, it's useless. You have to do both. So that's why it takes me such a long time sometimes, because
yeah,
I try to be my own worst critic. I'll listen to
Mm.
it and think, well, that's crappy, and I'll just keep going until I feel like, yeah,
yeah. I feel that, yeah, and
And
in
then he's
listening
got a
to it,
couple of critical people behind him.
yeah,
yeah, for
Fred's
sure.
Fred's on the
But
edge of like, am I going to send this to them, or are they going
I
to
do.
am I
I
going
do.
to
I
ignore
have a panic
them?
attack, like last night before I sent that music to him. I was like, that. Well, I've done everything I could do with this song, and I just like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
here goes. And
But
luckily,
I think there's only been one occasion that we've said, maybe you should think about revisiting this. Um,
Mm.
and I think it paid off.
Mm.
Um, so,
absolutely.
it's like you've got to be you make yourself very vulnerable with when you're recording. You know,
Mm.
you know that you're putting yourself out there, but whatever instrument it is you play or whatever artwork it is that you do, you're opening yourself up to critique, let's say, and that critique can be soul destroying.
Yeah.
It can be damaging, it can be career ending, or
Mm.
it can be encouraging and encourage you to reach a little further. And I
Mm.
think that we, Light of Eternity, are like incredibly lucky that we've got the maturity at least to be able to take the criticism and to appreciate that, you know, whatever we do might not work with the song or be to everybody's taste, but we've got enough respect between us that we're allowing the freedom to just like, okay, this is what you like to do, and this is what we appreciate you for. So just go with it. I do want to add also, sorry, I'm hogging the space here, but you know, Paulie Williams deserves a huge amount of credit for his not just his guitar playing, but his engineering skills.
Absolutely.
Because that has enabled us to keep this in-house and
Hmm.
sound as good as it does without having to go through yet another process to go to another person and have another ego or input to have to deal with.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's very much you know, a small, strong unit, and we get to the sound that we want very quickly.
Hmm.
So, you
And,
know,
and poor Paulie, I sent him when I finally send him my tracks, I
they're a
just
mess.
send him this
They're a mess.
large plate of crap, and okay, Paulie, fix it, make it sound like something. Here you
And
go. I'm giving you the whole kitchen sink, you know.
I get him on the phone going, what am I going to do with this?
What about what about the ride cymbal?
Yeah.
Poor guy. He's
Uh,
awesome.
But
He's so easy to work with. The only problem with it is he lives most of the year in, I mean, 12 hours away in Thailand. So to communicate with him, I have to, you know,
yeah,
I have to either talk to him really early in the morning or really late at night.
yeah.
But he's always up for, you know, a chat. Isn't that right, Paul? He's always up for a chat, Paul.
he's all, oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
He's a wonderful guy. Also, I would like to the fellow who's done our artwork and our visuals and a lot of our social media, Conrad Milne, that guy's an indispensable part of this as well.
Wow, right
And
on.
he's been tirelessly at it, promoting us, and his artwork is really just stunning, and that really helps to have a visual representation
Yeah,
of this project. So I just wanted to mention him.
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
we
Hmm.
I think Conrad is a friend of Paulie's originally. So it was Paulie's suggestion that Conrad come on board with the art, being an art director. And as Fred just said, I mean, we now rely on him and consider him absolutely part of this team.
Awesome.
Levi,
Uh,
you have a question?
Now, do you guys plan on taking this stateside?
Yes. I'm not sure when exactly.
Hmm.
I've been talking to Martin Atkins a little bit recently.
Oh yeah, yeah.
awesome.
We'll see if anything comes of that. But no, I've got and as Fred has also connections over here
Yeah,
that we hope to you know to to hit up soon to put something together. But you
yeah,
know, our immediate concern is just finalizing the dates that the shows that we have in Europe and getting this next collection of work out.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can't say when exactly, but soon, I hope.
Okay,
Look forward to
that'd
that.
be good. That'd be
Yeah.
good. Be real
And
good.
do you guys have any rituals for touring? Weird things on your riders or anything like that?
Not yet, but thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
I'll think about a few things.
I
Definitely
want
some
just brown
possibilities.
M&Ms.
I was
They
just
don't
gonna
make them
say.
anymore. No.
Brown M&Ms. Brown M&Ms.
I have a feeling we're going to be fairly low maintenance.
We will be.
Fair enough. So, listening to the to both the EPs, I do have one critique for both of them. They ended way too fast. I mean, honestly, when the music stopped and I'm like, oh, no. I
It's so hard to know how to uh, navigate this world of streaming music, and you release an entire album. I released my first Ancients album in like 20 years, a couple of years ago. And it was during the pandemic, and it was it started off as actually it started off as material I was writing for the John Ashton Satellite Paradiso project, but
okay.
um, there was no interest in pursuing that for that project, so I just decided to do, hey, I haven't done an Ancients album in so long, and it kind of fits the whole mood of that. So I went ahead and at my own expense, I pulled this album together, and before I know it, all my efforts, were just the album came out, you know, great response initially, and then poof. Yeah, you have to keep things going. So
Yeah.
I think the idea of releasing 4 songs every couple of months has actually worked out for us.
Yeah. No,
Mm.
it's definitely left me
Yeah.
wanting more
And
for
when it's
sure.
put together in a package, it's more of a physical product. It's like, okay, here's the vinyl album or
Mm.
Yeah.
CD or, I think, in this age, people consume music so differently now. And it's such a,
Hmm.
it's such a personalized thing. It's not like the
Yeah.
old days when we all used to sit around together and, smoke
Yeah.
a few joints and listen to an album together. It's
Yeah.
not a shared
Yeah.
experience like it used to be.
Yeah. I know. I miss that.
So,
Yeah.
so really, it's a way of navigating, and I don't know if that was intentional, but at first, but it seems to be working out that way. That every couple months you've got something to put out there that's new.
It
That
it
first
it
Walkman, I tell
was
you.
it was very deliberate,
Okay.
because as Fred mentions, you put your work in your soul into a project and it disappears within a week.
Hmm.
So the idea of just keeping the ball rolling, just work consistently, work to a high level, and just keep producing, keep putting it out, little bit at a time, little bit at a time.
Yeah.
And and every once in a while, put a compilation together of the entire package, that the people that want to have the vinyl, the people that are serious collectors or whatever, they've
Mm.
got the whole thing. They don't have to rely on streaming or whatever. But if we were to have gone the route of putting an album out first, which is the traditional sort of way, we'd be 2 years into a project without anything out there yet.
Mm.
So this was a way of, we're excited about the new songs. Let's get other people excited
Yeah.
Yeah.
about them
No, it
now.
Let's do
worked.
it.
I
It
can't wait
absolutely
until we've
worked.
got the whole thing done.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah. As soon as
definitely it
one ends,
doesn't
I'm
put the
right on the
pressure
other
on
one.
you to when you're trying to put an album together, you're kind of under pressure well, we've got to do 12 songs, so let's take
Yeah.
this track we weren't really ready to release and throw it on there because we got to make it a 10 song or whatever. You put your 4 strongest songs that you have at that time out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like advanced singles is what I'm saying. Yeah.
advanced singles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
it's awesome. It's been a while since I've listened to something and got to the end and just been like, no, no, no.
I appreciate
Um,
that. I mean,
there's
that's quite a
definitely stuff
compliment.
where I'm like putting it on repeat and everything, but
I know you
literally I
said
get done, I'm
critique,
like,
but that
oh,
was
there's gotta
actually
be
a
more. There's
compliment,
gotta be
and
more.
thank you.
thank
So
you.
yeah, no, it was a
Thank
good
you.
feeling. Fred, I'm sorry, I had a little trouble looking into past projects for you. I do see the ancients
Hmm.
out there, but I'm pretty sure the one I found isn't yours. It's some New Jersey rapper guy, something.
Nah, yeah.
So
Uh,
where might I find some ancients?
you could go to all the streaming platforms. They're all there. You'd probably have to tail the Ancients with NYC after it, as we
NYC.
were a New York City band. And of course, there was the Crush project, which unfortunately hasn't made it to the new platforms. It kind of is out of print. I've had a bit of a checkered musical past. So I've yeah, I had the Ancients. I was in Crush with Paul. I'm after that I moved to Nashville and I was in a rockabilly band for a while.
Oh,
Because I love old country stuff and I
yeah.
love old rockabilly stuff, and that's why I moved here. I was in a band called the Billy Goats, and they were kind of a regional band. We used to do a lot of touring in kind of Tobacco Roads, southeast.
Nice.
We even went to New York a couple of times. We used to play the Rodeo Bar and places like that. Just a fun sort of
Yeah.
retro thing.
Mhm.
And then I was asked by John Ashton to do vocals for the Satellite Paradiso project, which is really a great album. John was such a force in the psychedelic furs, and
Yeah.
he's kind of missing from that project. And if you're a big fan of theirs, that album is really good. And Paul plays on a couple of the tracks there. But after that, really, I really wasn't doing much, just some writing and some session work and stuff. And I really had kind of slowed down a lot and really wasn't really doing much and really didn't intend to do anything until Paul came along with this. And so, but thanks for trying to find me out there.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'll definitely be going back and listening to more. I mean, I love what you do with your
Well, if you,
vocals, and
yeah, if that's get your email here someplace, I'll send you
yeah,
some links to stuff.
absolutely. That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
I'd be glad to.
So,
And if I get
yeah.
your address, I'll even send you all t-shirts. I have boxes of them in my garage.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome, man.
I need to
And
clean
oh,
the
and you're
garage out
stateside,
anyway.
so there's not going to be any,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Shenanigans.
it's like
Duty.
$47 million for a t-shirt. Yes.
No, 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 no. No, it's free. I'm just gonna send them.
Yes, a new one.
I gotta make
Awesome.
space, I gotta make space. I
Yeah.
gotta fit a
Uh,
car in there eventually. I live in Tornado Valley and I gotta put a car in there so I could, at least.
Wait, a car in a garage? That's
Yeah, I
not how
know.
that's not how
They
you
all
do it
just
on the
become a
East Coast,
catch-all,
my
don't they?
friend.
It's just a big junk pile, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up on the East Coast too. We never had a car in our garage.
I never had a driveway in the East Coast. When I lived in New York, New Jersey, I parked my car out in the street, and when it
Yeah.
snowed, I used to have to shovel out a space for myself and put a couple garbage cans out there. You ever do
Yeah.
that?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Oh
then get
Yeah,
in
yeah.
did
fights with your neighbors about the parking space?
Yeah. It's like I
I'm
cleared
Yeah.
this out for
familiar.
me. No, I found it
That
this
happened in
week.
Chicago.
Yeah.
I shoveled this out, motherfucker.
Okay, Paul. I've mentioned this a couple of times on the show. This is more anecdotal than anything else, and the question is going to be a little funny. Laugh at Your Peril tour in Seattle at El Corazon. I had the honor of being at that show and even was lucky enough to get one of your sticks after the show. Hell of a night. Uh, Little question about Jordy, rest his soul. He was standing outside the venue having a cigarette,
As
and
he
this
does.
goofy monkey walks up to him. Big Paul slaps his hand, puts his hand out. Thank you for a great show. Blah, 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 blah. Me. Didn't miss a fucking tick. He's like, oh, cheers, man. Thanks. Yeah. Also, shook my hand. I get about halfway to my car and my heart stops. And I'm like, holy shit. I just called fucking Jordy Big Paul. Did he happen to mention some fucking wacko outside of Seattle coming up saying, hey, Big Paul to him?
Well, I wouldn't like to burst any bubble that you have of him remembering much about
Yeah,
about
no, I wouldn't
in
expect he
particular.
did, but
Yeah.
No, he didn't. But I can guarantee you that he would have taken note and would never forget. Yeah, he
oh man.
would
I
he
know
would have
I drove all the way home with a red face. I know I did.
yeah he would no doubt have reminded you of that the next time
Yeah,
he
yeah.
saw
He
you.
he
Yeah,
was so
yeah.
gracious about it though. It was a wonderful
Just
experience.
be
You
glad
guys
you
are
didn't do that to Raven.
oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
He would have eviscerated you
Yeah.
in a funny way.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what a way to go, right?
Yeah, really. That'd have been funny.
Oh my
That's
God.
his soul too.
So
Wow.
it's been a little while since I've read Twilight of the Mortals. Was it you or Jordy who works with wood, Paul?
I'm sorry. What was the
It's been a
question?
little while since I've read Twilight of the Mortals. Mont also rest his soul. Is it you or Jordy
Thank
that
God.
does woodworking?
Um, well, yeah, Geordie was a fisherman and a watch collector and repairer. So I work with sculpture, ancient sculpture, uh,
Oh,
Mhm.
and I do like ironwork. I don't
wow.
you do so much woodwork, but on occasion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I think the pictures that Mont took of me were at the sculpture studio that I was working at.
Mm.
So I think there's a picture of me sitting there with a big old hammer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what
Kind of
got you into that?
typical look for me.
Mhm.
It's just another drumstick, man.
I told these guys they're really they're way more manly and butch than I am. They're both like Paul works with iron, and then you talk to Paulie, and he's in his little northern accent. Well, I just built a a Buddhist temple on my property, and I'd be like, well, I mowed the lawn this morning, and
Yeah.
feels so like
Yeah, I got to
Don't
these
put
sell
guys
wood
can
yourself
like
on the
short,
actually work
man.
with
lawn.
their hands as well as play like they do, and I'm like, well,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, don't sell yourself short, man. A manicured lawn is
I checked
that's a
the
hard thing
oil in the
sometimes.
Subaru this morning.
Paul, you've been a very busy guy lately. You got Light of Eternity, the Seven Dials album, which is phenomenal, by the way.
Thank you.
Absolutely
Thank you.
incredible, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's album of the year for me by far. Do you have anything else you're working on the moment?
No, I think that's enough at the moment. I mean, musically, I don't want to spread myself too thin.
Yeah.
The Seven Dials record, I'm very proud of. Um, that actually came about because I had worked with Mark Gemini Thwaite on my solo records, and he was gracious enough to lend his talents to my sketchy ideas back then.
Mhm.
And he and I worked together very well. Also, when he asked me to put drums on a track that he had done with Chris Conley, I couldn't do anything but say yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Right, right.
And that evolved track after track into this thing that we now call Seven Dials.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a difficult situation for me in the sense that promoting two bands at the same time, you know, which one is he in, whatever. But
Mhm.
music's music, and I had a little time to devote to Seven Dials, and I'm delighted that it's turned out so well. I love working with Chris Connolly. And we'll see what happens with that, but I don't think we've got any real plans of, we may do a gig or two in a while, but
Mhm.
it's not as I can see it, a touring project, and it's not a project that I'm busy writing the music for, whereas LOE,
Mhm.
that's more of an expression of myself, outside of just being a drummer.
Yeah.
So I'm really thankful that it's come along. It's ended up being on the same record label, which also doesn't help, because
That's very cool.
everything's coming out all together at the same
Oh
time.
yeah.
So whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the extent of it. Oh, actually, no, I'm wrong. I've done a couple of tracks for the Orb. Um,
Really?
which will be released soon. I don't know if you know the backstory on this, but Alex Patterson was my drum roadie at the very inception of Killing Joke,
Oh, wow.
and he went on to found this ambient
Yeah.
group, the Orb, this
I
project.
Yeah.
love them. Yeah.
Had amazing success and influence everywhere.
Yeah.
And he and I are friends. Haven't worked together in a very long time, but recently sent me a couple of tracks to just put some drums on. So that's that.
Oh my God.
Outside
I'm very
of
much
that,
looking forward to that.
I'm doing physical things. I'm like, whenever I have an opportunity, I'm out doing manly things, Fred.
Yeah.
Manly.
What's the latest sculpture you've worked on?
I'm trying to get my head around CNC machines right now. So I'm trying to turn the more physical and welding sort of stuff into like getting a computer to cut it out first.
Oh,
Mm.
wow.
That's the thing. But I'm finding that a challenge. The whole computer design thing is a language that I didn't grow up with, so
Right.
it's something that I'm trying to learn right now.
Mm.
Now, when you're working with the
Same here.
sculptures, are you doing actual smelting, metal work kind of stuff? Or are you getting into that aspect of it, or is it
Yeah,
just?
well, I've got a line of jewelry as well,
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
yes, it's called Boneyard Skull Rings. So yeah, I sculpt and cast
Nice.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh,
um,
wow.
I miss
jewelry.
doing that. I'm
Um,
actually a trained dental lab technician, and
oh,
that was
really?
one of the big changeovers, the big crossovers for me was because
Yeah.
in school I made metal, I made jewelry and stuff, and
Okay.
from bending metal to sculpt, or not sculpting but casting and whatnot.
All right.
And it's so very similar, and building teeth out of wax is very
Right.
fun.
Right.
Just yeah, it's a lot of I love the smell of a casting foundry. I really do.
Yeah, it's almost as addictive as drumming. My problem is I don't have too much room. It's like my basement is my domain.
Yeah.
I've got drums down there, so I can like go down with every intention of working on sculpture, and I end up drumming again.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, if you can
You
indulge
do
me for just
welding?
I do, yes,
I love welding. I
yes.
would like to have stuck with that for a little longer, but welding is I have the habit I used to be in the habit of doing it without my mask because
Oh
I
no, 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 no,
Oh
no, no,
no.
no, no.
no
Bad
no
idea.
I
Very bad idea.
yeah, I know it is, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Spots everywhere.
Yeah, my shop teacher was always, you welding good, but put your mask on. Don't take those, put your goggles on.
I can't believe you did that.
Yeah.
I
Um,
know
Oh, oh.
it took a while for me to get used to it.
Yeah.
okay.
But I
Well,
was
yeah,
in
I
this,
mean, the problem is when you've got your mask on, you can't see a damn
No,
thing.
you
yeah,
can't.
right. So
He's got some manliness on you, Paul. He's welding without a mask. You need to
yeah,
step up your game, pal.
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
You got a
I think
cigarette in the side of your mouth. Ah.
yeah, I'll bow to that challenge. Yeah.
yeah. No,
My eyesight's getting dodgy enough, thank you.
Oh my God. Uh,
wow.
Really, I was going to do this interview without my glasses, and it's like, oh, I can't see anybody.
See, yeah,
so
yeah. I
I've got
was, yeah,
Yeah,
I've got mine
we're in
sitting
the
right
same
here, and
boat.
I'm not wearing
Yeah.
them. I'm just like,
yeah.
I
Here's
gotta wear
mine.
them. I got farsighted in one eye, nearsighted in the other. So when I put them on, one of my eyes is real big, the other one's real small.
Oh, gee.
Uh,
Oh, that's a
Like
oh
great
David
man.
look.
Bowie, he always had the one dilated pupil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody always, oh, he has one blue eye and one. No, that was a
No,
dilated
no, it's
pupil
one's
that he
dilated and
had.
one's not. Yep. Oh
Yeah.
man. So have either of you been able to work with or see or hang out with David Bowie?
I came close.
Yeah.
One of my best friends is Morgan Visconti. He's the son of Tony. I
Yeah.
worked with
Yeah.
Tony before. I've worked with Gail Dorsey. I worked with,
Oh man.
well, that was all yeah, she was in the Satellite Paradiso project.
Oh, okay. Man, okay. I'm checking that one out for sure.
His
Yeah.
last drummer, the guy that plays for the Furs now, I can't think of his name right now. Great drummer.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Roja. He's the bass player. Dennis?
Jeez.
No,
Let
it's
me
not
go to the
Dennis.
Google machine here.
This is-
I can't remember anything anymore
I
either. That's
know.
good. Um,
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
yeah, no, it's
Really?
it's you think maybe it's early onset dementia, which kind of runs in my family. But I think it's that we're always going to the internet to
Yeah,
recall things anymore. We don't really put a
Yeah.
lot of effort in remembering anything.
yeah. Well,
Hmm.
Einstein gave us a good rule. Don't commit anything to memory that you can easily research or look up. But then that
Little
backfired
did he know.
Yeah,
terribly with the
it
internet.
doesn't
And
mean
now we don't remember
absolutely
any damn
everything.
thing.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
doesn't.
But yeah,
It
no,
doesn't.
I never met David. Would have loved to have met him. I heard he was a really funny guy.
Yeah, I did
And I
too.
do know a lot of people that knew him well, but never got there. Tony is about as close as I've got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
My
pretty damn
daughter got
close. Yeah.
to hold his Grammy for the last album that he did, Black
Oh,
Star.
wow.
I brought her to see Morgan, and Tony's studio was right next door, and he came out and said hello. And my daughter at the time was such a big Bowie fan, and I think she
Yeah.
was like maybe 11, 12. But
Oh,
he brought her into the studio, showed her where he made his last recording, let her hold the Grammy. It was so
oh
cool.
Wow.
man.
It's so cool. And that
Nice.
was
What
we
an
we had just come
amazing
from
memory.
the David Bowie is exhibit at the Brooklyn Museum,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
which was fantastic. I don't know if any of you had seen that collection, but it was really, really well done.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I've got a couple of pieces of merch from that, but no, I wasn't able to get out to the East Coast for it. I really hoped that thing was going to hit Seattle at some point, but it didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it didn't really, it just was in Brooklyn. I don't think it was
Yeah,
anywhere else in the
Brooklyn. Yeah,
States, really.
I don't think it did go anywhere else in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
They
just
only had
Brooklyn.
it curated for a small amount. There's London and New York. Um, in that exhibit was we were talking about lyric writing, and
Mhm.
I always wondered where Bowie came up with his ideas. His
I
his his
know.
approach was really random, man.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
just threw a bunch of words in a like it was like Yahtzee. He just like,
yeah.
you know,
Like just turn on the blender.
yeah.
Uh,
So that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for
I never
sure.
tried that, but
Yeah, crazy, crazy.
that's a good way
So,
to read.
Paul, if you don't mind indulging me, War Dance, one of my first favorite Killing Joke songs. I would love to hear about the birth of this track.
Talk about not remembering. Uh, I mean, that's a long time ago, man.
It is a long time ago,
Um,
yes.
you know, I'm a self-taught drummer, um, and the beat from that was just one of those like beginner things, just like hammer it out, pound it on the floor tom,
I, yeah,
and it grew out of that. I mean, Geordie always had his chuggy guitar
yeah.
riffs,
Yeah.
and Jazz and I would write lyrics together. But exactly when and where, I honestly I don't recollect right now.
Well,
Sorry.
that makes sense. It's definitely it's got a march feel to it, and
Yeah,
it's very thunderous. It's a great workout song. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
and yeah,
We
it's
uh, we
since
we
high school. Yeah.
We were all living in West London at the time. We were squatting in some remarkable buildings that now, I don't know, cost upwards of 15 million
Wow.
pounds to live in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
our address was Elgin Crescent in Nottingham Gate, Grove. And there was a constant influx of people, people coming in and going out every bit. It was chaos, really. But within that chaos, the core of, Killing Joke sort of existed, and listened to dub reggae and disco, and invented those early songs.
Mm.
Talk about a legacy, man.
No kidding.
It's a damn big one. Yeah.
Fred and Paul, this is for both of you. What is your earliest memory of art having a profound effect on you?
Of art having, yeah, I mean, we're talking encompassing the
Yes.
complete definition of art, right?
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Um, well, it was undeniably music for me, and I know this sounds kind of cliche, but I was a very young tot at the time the Beatles were invading, the U.S., and that was infectious to me. I had an older brother who bought all the records, and not only them, whoever was popular in 60s music, and I studied it. I would listen to these records, and I was so, I probably scratched a few of my brother's records up, and they never forgive me for. But yeah, I was very young. I was very young when I was infected with music. Music is the medium that I, responded to. I'm a great appreciator of visual art. Actually, I envy people who are like Paul, who are really good at it. I
Yeah.
don't have the capacity to express myself that way, but yes, I was very, very young, four
Mm.
or 5 years old, maybe. Just yeah,
Um,
just really, just very, very focused on it.
yeah.
I think the same is true of myself, except along with the music came the album artwork.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was actually record sleeves that made me aware of art as
Yeah.
such.
Yeah.
And two that come to mind that well, three actually. I mean, I had three elder sisters. They were hippies. They were into the whole whatever was going on in the 60s,
Yeah.
and their record collections influenced me. And one would have been, the Beatles' Sergeant Pepper's
Mm.
artwork. Another was In the Court of the Crimson King.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And another actually might have been the first Black Sabbath album. Because I think that was the first time that I saw an album cover that was like really dark and moody
Yeah.
and sinister
Yeah.
in that sense. So
Have to agree with you.
it was definitely album artworks that opened my eyes to art in general.
Yeah.
But then when I was old enough, I suppose, 11, 12, my eldest sister would take me to museums, art galleries like the Tate in London, and that sort of exposed me to sculptors.
Mm.
Um, whoever was hip or whatever influential at the time back in the 70s. And that made me want to explore art and music. You know, you got to concentrate on one thing to be any good at it. And that's always been my problem. I get
Yeah.
drawn in
Everywhere.
different areas. So here we are, whatever.
Yeah. Oh my God. No, I remember I think my love for Frank Frazetta probably came initially from Molly Hatchet,
Molly
Oh, okay,
Hatchet. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
they have to.
you
yeah,
know, and
yeah.
Boy, what a
yeah, there's
deceiving album cover that one is.
right, you
Yeah.
Yeah,
know,
I
Yeah,
remember that
yeah.
album cover. It's like, oh, this is probably a really heavy band. And
Yeah.
yeah,
listen to the record, it's like, this is not what I expected.
Like the
not
yeah.
what I
Grateful
expected,
Dead
but
did that too. You'd like Grateful Dead would have these great
I
album
I
covers,
know. I was like, I don't get
and
this.
you'd be like, yawn.
The
yeah,
Molly Hatchet
I
is
definitely have
true.
much more of a memory of the feeling the artwork gave me from those albums than I do from the music that came from them. There's something to that, I suppose.
I think Roger Dean did it right for Yes.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
Oh,
'Cause-
hypnosis. Did you
Yeah.
see the documentary on the hypnosis thing? That's really riveting.
oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
No.
they did some of my favorite album covers. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. They did
Oh,
Pink
yeah.
Floyd, Wish You Were Here, and Dark Side of the Moon. So many iconic. Actually, Roger Dean worked for them initially,
Okay,
so he went
okay,
off on his own. Yeah,
yeah.
I forgot the name of it, but it is on Netflix or something. It is really, really good. And I didn't realize how many of those album covers they did.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
just iconic.
Yeah. There's a couple of good old music documentaries on Netflix right now. There's one, what is it? Yacht Rock thing, which
Yacht Rock.
I haven't watched it yet, but the previews make it look pretty fun, and it's got some, like Steely Dan and whatnot in there.
I'm really
But
surprised that they're
other,
considered yacht rock, but
I
yeah.
am too.
I don't. I confess I don't know what your rock is, but
Yacht rock would have been like,
like
back in the day, they would have
Christopher
light
Cross.
rock.
Yes,
They,
Light
yeah.
Rock,
and they would
Light
play
Rock.
things like
Yeah,
America and
yeah,
Bread,
All
yeah,
right.
you know. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
Jeez.
You have words
Yeah,
of wisdom for
a
younger
little out of my
generations.
scope there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's all right, man. That's all right.
Do you guys have words of wisdom for younger generations coming into this creative world?
Don't.
Don't.
Don't do it.
You're not the
No,
first. You're not the first guest who's had that answer.
yeah.
Yeah, I
If
mean,
you
good luck. Good
you
luck.
want a lifetime full of heartbreak, but
Yeah.
listen, I don't regret a single moment. I've loved every part. Hey, I didn't achieve the success that I'd hoped, but it wasn't about that really. When I think about it, I wanted to
Yeah.
do it. Sure, man, go for it.
Yeah,
Just remember the important thing is that you do it for the love of doing it, and
yeah,
as long
Yeah.
as you approach it that way,
Hmm.
you're not apt to be disappointed. You know,
Yeah.
you
that's
do it
for
It's
because
sure.
true.
you have a passion for it. You know.
Yeah.
That's
You
all I could
know,
say. As far as
when
success in the business, I don't know.
Mm.
when
I
when
never
when
was, so I can't really.
when we were young, we had these dreams of, being in that band that was,
Yeah.
whatever. And speaking for myself, but I think, probably for most young musicians, you're made offers that you think are just incredible, and but that's going to get me there. And what you don't
Mm.
realize is that there's a whole system of business set up
Yeah.
on exploiting that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what you're there for. I mean, I agree with Fred, go for it. But just be aware that you're grist for a mill, really.
Yeah,
We're all just grist for a mill.
yeah,
And I don't know how the music business survives what is going on with digital downloads and AI and all the rest of it,
Yeah.
with the theft of intellectual property, basically that
yeah.
is happening right now.
Hmm.
And I will never understand it. And it's a different world to what I grew up in, and the world that I grew up in ripped everybody off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Having
Nothing's
said that,
changed there.
having said that, it was a lifestyle that I chose, and I'm extremely lucky to have been able to work with the people that I have and
Mhm.
done the things that musically I've been able to do in my life. And that's a life. In the light of eternity, none of this matters. But while
Yeah.
you're here, seize the day, go for the moment, and create.
Hmm.
Excellent.
That's all I've
Excellent.
got.
And you never know where it's going to take you because I would never think that, would have never thought when I started that here I am, I'm, 64 years old and I'm doing an interview with one of the greatest drummers, in rock history here. And he's one of my best friends. And here I am, I'm still doing it. And of course, just keep doing it, man, because
Yeah.
why not?
You know,
There's better ways to spend I mean, there's worse ways to spend your time.
No, for
absolutely.
sure.
Yeah. Like being trapped in something that you've got no love for.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's enough creativity out there for young musicians to invent some way of circumventing all the problems that we
Hmm.
faced in our generation. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything just keeps trucking right along and it's
Yeah,
kind of awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
So on the flip side of that, have either of you gained any wisdom from the younger generations that you would like to impart?
I don't know any.
Don't know any.
I have a 22-year-old daughter and she's very intelligent. I my point of view on this is colored by just the anxiety that I see from the younger generation. They're very scared. They
Yeah.
don't know what to do. A lot of them that I've met, my daughter and her friends seem to be, not unsure about where to go next. Their prospects are way more limited than they were when I were there, when I was their age.
Yeah.
But they're also highly intelligent, really informed people, way more astute than I was.
Mm.
So as far as words of wisdom, um,
Keep it living. Mm.
what's that?
Keep living.
Keep
Keep
living, I
living.
guess, and it just they seem to, with everything they're facing right now.
Yeah.
They have a way of coping with it that you always figure out a way to navigate it somehow, I guess. I just but I do I worry because A, she's my daughter, and B, but I really I hate to say, hey, it's up to you guys to fix all this crap. It's not fair.
Yeah.
Um, but I hope they do.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I hope they're
Yeah.
inspired enough to carry on and change things for the better. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. My niece keeps me inquisitive. Um, Whenever we're hanging out, if I put on a song like we were out a couple of weeks ago and I had Einstürzende Neubauten playing on the CD in the car, and she was like, "Oh, so who is this?" And then tell me about what's your favorite song by them, and and all right, how did you get into this? And, so just being inquisitive, I think, is one of the coolest things I've seen from the younger generations is that they've still got the desire to figure stuff out, and
Let's hope they don't lose that.
yeah, let's
Yeah.
hope we all don't lose that. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
know.
mean, yeah,
Tough times.
it is. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird. Now I'm
But conversations like this are good for all of us,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Now let's bounce a little sideways here. Paul, you've got something on your shelf behind you I'd like to know something about. You've got a dinosaur on your shelf behind you. What is that?
Yeah, this is not my apartment.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
I,
so
I cannot take responsibility for
you're gonna
anything
take
on the shelf
responsibility for the
behind me.
dinosaur. No, oh no.
Speaking of things in the background, Charles, you've got an image of yourself back behind you there. That's really, really cool. Who did that?
Oh, I forgot. Um,
Simon Paul.
I'm about
yeah,
him.
Simon Paul. Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's really
that
great.
was for his interview on Kevin Key's show on the
Yeah.
Subconscious
Uh-huh.
Patreon page. So
Yeah.
Excellent.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he did a
freaking
good
awesome.
job. It,
Yeah.
it really, it really lifted my spirits because I was going through a hard time. But
Yeah,
see, you know, my fiance is my life right now. She's everything, and I'm glad I have a second chance at life.
that's great.
Really.
Are you feeling better?
Yeah, I'm getting there. You know, I'm healing here in Denver.
Yeah,
I miss the I miss the music world. I mean, I miss the touring and all that stuff. But I'm alive, and I can, you know, and I think back at all the things that I've been through. But I want to do more, you know. And it's good when I see, you know, Paul. You know, I never got a chance to meet you personally, but you know, Jordy was really, really like the David Niven of rock to me. You know, when we would go out, we go out together, and he'll come on, Charles, let's go and you go crazy. So,
great.
so I'd be like, oh, okay, whatever, give me a cigarette, you know. But you know, now, you know, I have my two friends here, and I try to keep up with this podcast and try to stay healthy, you know, keep
Great.
my fingers moving and stuff, and appreciate life. That's what it is, you know.
Well,
Amen.
you know that we're all wishing you the best, Charles.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That means a lot to me. That means a whole lot. Now I feel like going through the. I'm up at 7 in the morning and I'm up.
Yeah.
Thanks to Paul.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, you gave Joey a big treat this morning. He's like, I just got a phone call from Paul Ferguson to wake me up.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't
That's
sleep too well.
badass,
I
man.
didn't sleep too well last night. So
All right, I didn't either.
it's like, oh,
Uh,
No, he's like
yeah,
it's this total excitement.
all
That's
right.
yeah.
freaking brilliant. So I gotta say, Killing Joke has probably been one of my longest standing
Mhm.
in my head. They're just I've got a copy of What's This For that Jazz signed with ballpoint pen. Play it frequently, and and every single bit of the catalog is on my phone, and it's always going. So just thank you for a huge chasm in my soundtrack. It's just filled to the brim with greatness, and I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you. Thank you very
Mhm.
much.
Do you
And
guys have anything else you would like to talk about today?
I really would just like to thank Ministry for inviting us, as I've said already, on this short tour of Germany and the UK that they've got lined up. Um, you know, Killing Joke, we're talking about going out on tour with Ministry, um, and it never came to fruition.
Yeah.
We did one show with them. Um, I think it was the year before Geordie died. And again, we talked about putting a tour together, and one thing led to another, and that was not to be. So that they should now give LOE this opportunity is
Mhm.
incredibly beneficial to us. And knowing that Al is likely to put a lid on Ministry makes it a little bit more special.
Yeah, no kidding.
So thanks to Ministry for that, and thanks for having us. on
Yeah.
this. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes, thanks a lot, guys.
And you know, we're as we've said, just excited to keep putting out material, and I hope that we can all just you know, stay creative and, you know, keep doing
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
Right?
Thank you so
No.
very much. Both of you for indulging us today. It's been a unique honor, a personal milestone for me. We're looking forward to more from both of you. So
Yeah.
well done.
It's been my pleasure.
Okay,
Yes.
Skittles, please keep your eyes and ears peeled for the upcoming vinyl that is soon to be available. The CD with both EPs titled Collateral is also available now from cadizmerchstore.com. The two EPs are available on their Bandcamp page. Check them out on tour with Ministry across the pond. Germs and Gemstones, we've reached the end of another episode dedicated as always to our great friend Jason Lupo. As the world continues into bizarro land, please remember music, art, dance, these are our tools for revolution. As as is where we put our ducats. So take time to breathe, share a kind word with a stranger, smile, protect each other and yourselves. If you're hurting, please let someone know. If you see someone hurting, please extend a hand. We're all going through something. Let's try to keep grace in our hearts, shall we? You are not a burden. Love, hugs, and belly rubs, everyone. Cheers.
Yes.